Today, I sent a letter to the Deputy Prime Minister and Federal Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, requesting she convene an urgent meeting of Canada's federal, provincial, and territorial finance ministers to discuss Alberta's withdrawal from the Canada Pension Plan. Aujourd'hui, j'ai écrit à la vice-première ministre et ministre fédérale des Finances, Chrystia Freeland, lui demandant de convoquer d'urgence une réunion des ministres des Finances fédérales, provinciaux et territoriaux afin de discuter du projet de l'Alberta de se retirer du régime de pension du Canada. Let me begin by saying that I have the greatest respect for Alberta. The province, its people, and economy play an incredibly important role in Canada's success. In particular, our government has been proud to stand in support of Alberta's energy sector and will continue to do so. At the same time, our government firmly supports the Canada Pension Plan, and we believe Alberta's proposal could cause serious harm over the long term to working people and retirees in Ontario and across Canada. And I believe my federal and provincial counterparts would agree with this. Our view is that CPP's collective and uniquely Canadian approach benefits all workers and their families. The CPP's greatest strength is its pan-Canadian approach that provides stability for workers and for families, so Canadians can be sure that they have a reliable retirement plan, no matter where they live, work, or choose to retire. At a time when economic challenges are putting pressure on household budgets, the people of Ontario and Canada should not have to worry about the security of their retirement savings or the possibility of costly increases to contributions. This is why it is imperative that Minister Freeland convenes an immediate finance ministers meeting to discuss a path forward for this important issue. As I outlined in my letter, as co-stewards of the Canada Pension Plan, it is our shared responsibility to safeguard the financial stability of that plan. And if any jurisdictional partner chooses to leave the CPP, Canada Pension Plan, we believe it must be divided fairly, acknowledging the contributions made by workers in each participating province and territory. This is why we would welcome a rigorous analysis of the assumptions that Alberta's proposals are based on. Our government continues to be focused on building Ontario and creating jobs while supporting workers and communities. Notre gouvernement continue d'axer ses efforts sur le développement de l'Ontario et la création d'emplois, tout en soutenant les travailleurs et les collectivités. As a nationwide retirement savings program, the Canada Pension Plan is important to Ontario workers. It is important to our government, and it's important for me to be here today to make that clear. Thank you, and now I'd be happy to take any questions.
So, Minister, the Alberta government says that, that it's, I guess LifeWorks that did the report for the Alberta government says that Alberta is owed roughly 53% of the total value of CPP. I take it that's the number that you are concerned about. That doesn't jibe with what I guess Ontario's calculations would be, right?
Well, we have to see independent analysis of those numbers. I know others have taken a look and said, you know, if Ontario were to withdraw, it'd be over 60%, so close to 120% of the assets, just two members out of 12. So we need some rigorous analysis.
And are you, so you're on the same page as Chrystia Freeland. She's talked about this already. The Prime Minister's on the same page. Presumably Premier Ford is on the same page. Is this something that you guys think that the other premiers, I mean, I think Saskatchewan's already said that it has concerns. So is this something you believe that all of the provinces will kind of say to Alberta, smarten up?
Look, I think the other provinces will state what they think, but I don't think it'd be unfair for me to presume that they will be very interested to discuss this. You know, at a time when things are so uncertain in the world, geopolitically and economically, I think one of the hallmarks of our Canada Pension Plan is that it's stable, it's secure, it's reliable, and it's portable. And I think that that's one of the things that binds us as Canadians. So I don't want to speak for the other premiers, but I suspect that they would want to have a federal, provincial, territorials meeting to discuss this.
Why do you think Smith is doing this?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her, but you know, this was something that was brought up by previous administrations. And look, I've great admiration for the people of Alberta. I lived there for one summer, a summer job in Calgary, and I can understand some of the grievances that they have in Alberta. You know, their energy. We support them on the energy side, as I mentioned. And if I look just here in Ontario, we want to build the 413. You know, it's provincial jurisdiction, and we see the federal government weighing in on something that's a clear provincial jurisdiction at a time when we had almost 500,000 people come in last year, and you saw the first 2 quarters numbers. We're almost at a run rate of another 500,000 people this year. So that would be almost 1 million people in 2 years. So we need to build all kinds of infrastructure, and I can understand some of the frustrations that Albertans feel as well of building things and getting things done in their area of jurisdiction.
Is the message here, I understand you have a beef with the federal government, but don't take it out on Ontarians' pensions?
You know, I think, as I said, you know, we have a lot of work to do. And I find that when we work together, provincially, municipally, regionally, and federally, we get a lot more done. And this is another area where I think if we work together, we'll be able to resolve any issues that we have, and we can continue to focus on the things that really matter. Cost of living, building infrastructure, getting things done, build things faster, more roads, more bridges, all that stuff. So I find when we work together, we get a lot more done.
I have an off-topic question from my colleague Charlie. He wants to know if there's going to be funding in the FES at long last for the Durham Hospital, and if so, for which site?
You know, I won't speculate what may or may not be in the fall economic statement, but what I will acknowledge, again, is not just for the existing population of Ontario, which is 15.6 million, on its way maybe over to 16 million net population this year. It's not just healthcare that we have to focus on. We've got 50 healthcare projects, unprecedented. I think when we started in 2018, maybe half, we had inherited half a plan for building healthcare. We've doubled it. We're doing new hospitals, renovations of hospitals, new wings for children, for all types of needs. But it goes well beyond that. We're spending so much time talking about housing, but you also have to have the roads and the public transit. I mean, you know, there's 12 million people outside of Toronto, but we're here in Toronto today. Try getting downtown. Some of you, I'm sure, have tried to get downtown. I take the subway every time because, you know, it's the only way to get around really fast. But, you know, we've got to get things done. We've got to build faster. We've got to build more. And it's not just healthcare. It's a range of things, including housing.
Are you hoping the fall economic statement will be a good channel changer from the Greenbelt scandal?
I'm just going to continue. I don't know about channel changer. I'm just going to keep on the channel that, you know, I got on board to be part of this government, is to make sure that we have the fiscal health and the economic health of this province. You know, without economic prosperity, I don't know how we can pay for the world-class healthcare, education, infrastructure that we have. And I think it's a great thing that people want to come to this province. You've heard me say many times, I'm the son of 2 Hungarian refugees. They came to Canada with nothing, and Canada gave them everything. I think we have an obligation to continue to build things, to support workers, to train workers, healthcare, education, construction labor, working with all partners, federally, provincially, municipally, to get things done.
Are you aiming for anything new in this fall economic statement to help with affordability?
You know, one thing about affordability that I think is important is that we acknowledge how much many people are hurting in this province. You know, for those who have a mortgage, they're feeling the pinch on renewing their rates. If you're renting, they're feeling the pinch. We're feeling the pinch at the grocery store. So we're constantly focused on keeping costs down for Ontarians, and that's why we moved early on the gas tax. We moved early. That was about 1.5 years ago.
Gas tax, by the way, which expires.
I'm not gonna. You know, I know you want to know today, but you just 8 more sleeps, Colin, and we're gonna know. You know, but what I'm trying to say is that he started 1.5 years ago, focused on affordability and the cost of everything: the license plate stickers, the tolls in Durham, 412 and 418. Just 4 weeks ago, the minimum wage went up to $16.55. We have, with the low individual family tax credit rebate, we have the lowest personal income taxes for people making up to $50,000 in the country, so people can put more in their pockets.
Minister, is it the policy of your government that interest rates in this country should be set by Doug Ford? Seems to be. There's 2 letters now. The governor of the Bank of Canada said, lay off, guys, and he got another letter from the Premier. Do you endorse what's in those letters?
I do, and I tell you why I endorse Doug Ford and all premiers across Canada. They're just reflecting how people are feeling. You know, we've had, I think, a pretty unprecedented increase in rates. I think if you go back through time, I think the Bank of Canada was formed in the 1930s. This may be the fastest hiking of rates in the history of the Bank of Canada, from a 1/4 point to 5%, 10 times. People are feeling, I think what the Premier is channeling is what people are feeling, speaking for millions of Ontarians, how they're feeling in day-to-day life. And I think that, you know, any person in a position like the governor would welcome someone who is elected and represents 15.6 million people, tells how he feels.
Wouldn't that be your opinion if you were back on Bay Street? The Bank of Canada's governor should be independent and not subject to political pressure from people that don't want him to raise interest rates, which he has to do to get rid of inflation.
There's no question that the Bank of Canada is independent, but the Bank of Canada, none of its members, including the governor, should be independent of how people are feeling and use that as an input. Their decision making is independent. They as we just heard a few minutes ago, they kept the interest rates flat, and this is something that's going on around the world in terms of reining in insidious inflation, and it's painful. But I think anybody who's in a position of authority would welcome hearing how people are feeling from elected representatives.
Actually said, the first letter in particular, which displayed some misunderstanding, I think, of monetary policy. It seems to suggest that the way to reduce inflation was to spend billions of dollars and increase economic activity, which of course would cause inflation. You endorse the content of those letters? You
know, what I endorse is the Premier channeling how many people feel in this province and frankly right across the country and in jurisdictions beyond Canada. What I think is important is that we continue to focus on economic prosperity, that we continue to focus on building that infrastructure so that when people arrive or they're growing families, people who are here can have schools, can have health care, can have a means to get to work or take their kids to school, that can have a long-term care facility which is much needed. So that's what I think Ontarians care about.
You got a letter thanking him for getting inflation down from 8 to 3.8%.
I'm going to focus on, and the Premier and I are going to focus on, getting things built in this province, getting it built faster, and supporting the many people who are hurting in this province.
Juste pour revenir en français sur le Fonds de pension du Canada, quel est votre message pour la Première ministre Danielle Smith? Est-ce que c'est un avertissement que vous lui lancez aujourd'hui?
Le message pour le Premier ministre Smith, c'est très important pour le peuple, pas seulement d'Ontario, mais pour tout le pays. Alors, je demande à Chrystia Freeland dans un environnement de parler, de conversation sur cet sujet. Alberta, le Premier ministre Smith est une personne très importante dans cette discussion.
Minister, I missed some of this stuff off the top, so apologies if you addressed this, but 2 quick questions from my colleague Laura Stone. One is, would Ontario ever contemplate leaving the CPP if Alberta goes?
No.
Second one is there any avenue where you could challenge Alberta's assumptions about how much money it would be owed and so on in court? Was that an option?
No, that's not something we're contemplating. What I've asked for is that we convene, that Chrystia Freeland convene a federal, provincial, territorials meeting with all the finance ministers, including the finance minister of Alberta, to have this important discussion about the long-term sustainability of the Canada Pension Plan and to support workers and families in this country, the portability of it, the sustainability of it, and the reliability. That's what I'm asking for. All right, terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.